Hey, Dorcas. Oh, you're in mute.
Hi.
Good, good, good.
Hi.
So I made you a co-host, so you should be able to do anything. I'll be busy trying to admit folks.
Oh,
Maybe next time I'll just make it open. Once because the links were only sent to a few people, so maybe I'll just make it straight without admitting. But it's all good. You can try share your, or how will you like to share a screen? Be switching between various screens, or you're
yes,
share?
I've joined on two devices because my presentation is in a different device, and where I do the work, the kernel work is also in a different device, and it was
Okay.
refusing to send. So I was just like, okay, since there's no time, let me just join on my other device. So if you see me look on this side, I'm looking at this other device.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I've met both of them co-hosts, so you should be able
Okay.
to try and like maybe share your screen and see.
Okay. Let me share. Hold on. Let me stop sharing. So let me share the PowerPoint. Just a minute. Let me open it. But I've seen it's shared. So let me share. Okay. Yes. You should be able to see my screen.
Yeah. Yeah. I can see it.
Okay.
Good. 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 Presenter mode.
Let me present. I do a slideshow. I don't know if you're.
I hope it won't
It's not
open.
going where
Yeah,
it's showing.
normally that I expected that, but anyway, like you can switch it. There's a way you usually switch. Yeah, there.
Swap.
They
What should
expect.
I put?
Yeah, chair swap. Yeah, swap the view.
Okay, I hope it's going to. Yes.
Good. Good.
Yeah, so sorry. Sorry we started a bit late, but yeah. So welcome to this episode of Blackboard Roy
Maybe
Hour.
just before you go, just because I was trying to stream this.
Mm,
Just give me, and sorry folks on the line for indulge me in this, because I'm streaming this. I wanted to just like tell the folks on the stream that we are starting. So just give me 1 minute to just run the account down, and then we can get started. But just keep sharing the screen.
sawa.
Yes. Okay, thank you.
Send something that
And
I
then you are, I think being a host, you're also able to admit in case because I'm on this other screen and someone has to join, you can admit them.
okay.
Yeah, okay. I think, yeah, thank you for joining us, Clement, Ivan, Tess. So I'm admitting for normally I will not admit someone that's without authentication, sort of. So Tess, I just admitted you because anyway, it's all good. But maybe it would be nice to rename to write your actual name. XK, I guess I know who you are. Yeah, welcome all of you. Glad to have you. So I think let me just welcome the other folks on the stream, and then we go. Thank you so much.
Is it ready? Oh, no.
It's 1 minute.
Okay.
Yeah.
No worries.
I'll try to eliminate any questions that will come in from the.
I can't hear you well.
I think we are good now. You can hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Let me check on my phone if the stream is there.
Yeah, so for the stream, there will be no sound for some time, but let me do some magic around. Because I thought I can share the Zoom link and then it will stream the sound, but it looks like it won't have sound, but I'll see if I can rechannel that. I have some tool that can rechannel some audio.
Okay,
But
let me just start for the sake of time then.
yeah, you just get started, it's okay.
Okay, so again, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you for those who've joined again. We are happy to have you. And so we're going to continue with this last part of the workshop. So just a bit of an agenda. We're going to start with recapping what we talked about last time. And then after that, you're going to now talk about if you've tried, and if you have, you're going to give us details on what happened. Are you facing any issue? And then I'm going to discuss about submitting a patch. So yeah, so welcome. This is a guide to contributing your first patch in kernel newbies. It's a step-by-step guide to your first kernel patch. So by me, Amanda. So I was clicking the wrong device. So yeah, so first things first, we have to set up our environment to be able to, we have to set up our environment so that you can be able to have the necessary environment and necessary prerequisites for us to have an effective patch. I'm seeing it's very slow. Is it still share? Okay. These effects are slowing the presentation down. But anyway, yeah, so we want to know how to set up our environment first, and then after that we can see how to be able now to effectively submit patches. So some of the requirements and prerequisites for you to be able to submit that we discussed last time, you need to have a working Linux system. So the choice of Linux distribution is up to you, but you should have a recent version of the kernel. So the people who decided to install the Linux kernel natively, and did a very detailed video of installing the kernel in a VM. So there's that other side. You need to also have fast internet connection so that you can be able to download and upload like the different codes, you can pull from the repo and push from the push to your tree send a patch to your tree when you're ready. The other requirement is for you to have good understanding in programming in C. We talked about all this the other time. And then you need to have Git and a text editor. And so we said maybe a preferable text editor would be Vim, but you could use any text editor, but you need to have Git for version control, and you need to have a text editor that you are going to use to be able to do changes for whatever you're going to be building. The next thing that we talked about last time was about installing necessary tools and dependencies. So we went through the Kernel newbies site, and we are able to talk about the different tools and dependencies that someone might need so that they can be able to submit a patch. So we talked about Moot, which is the email client that you can use to send, and you talked about the different email clients that are available for you to be able to send patches and also to communicate to different people on the kernel. And all of these steps are clearly outlined on the Kernel newbies page. Yeah. So after we talked about the different things that you needed, so we talked about how to configure your development environment, which is also clearly outlined on the Kernel newbies page. So we talked about how to set up Moot. So what you need to put in the Moot grc file so that you can be able to send the patches nicely. What you need to put in the git config file so that you can be able to sign off your changes nicely, and all those things. So after you've downloaded the tools and things that you need for your patch, you also need to configure your environment so that you're able to have the tools working effectively. Yeah, so we talked about setting up your Git identity, creating a local copy of the kernel source code, and we tried to do that the other time, and we saw that how big the tree is, and also building and testing on the kernel. So you need to run make so that you can be able to compile the kernel, and then after that, to see if your changes introduce a regression or if they're acceptable, if the kernel builds, and all those things. So again, I'm still reiterating about what we did last week. So we're still talking about, I want us to again go over the kernel development workflow. So what happens? I gave an overview of where the Linux kernel sits in an operating system. We have the firmware, we have the bootloader, we have the kernel, and then we have user space, and explain the different functions of each. So we talked about that, and we also talked about C programming language, and they gave a very high overview and even recommended a few courses so that someone can be able to equip themselves with whatever they need to be able to learn more about programming. Please feel free to stop me anytime if you have any questions. Those are the people in the Zoom link. If you're on YouTube, post your question in the chat. So yeah, so now I'm just going to give basics of kernel development. So the first thing, you need to identify problems and features that need to be improved in the kernel. So remember when we talked last time, we said one way of contributing to the kernel, first of all, is when you run check patch in the staging drivers file, you can be able to see some of the warnings and errors that are there, and you can try use that as a means for you to be able to submit your first patch, like maybe aligning the curly braces, removing unnecessary parentheses, and a few more complicated things that are there, but you can always explore to see the problems that check patch generates and try to solve them. So you can try that. Alternatively, you could be able to contribute to a driver that you're passionate about. So if you have any driver that you're passionate about, it's a good way for you to try and contribute to that driver, but that takes a bit more experience and time. So you need to, first of all, sit in the mailing list of that driver and just watch to see the type of patches people are submitting. You sit in the mailing list of that driver again, just watching to see who's who in the mailing list, who's the maintainer, of which you can get the maintainers, because there's normally in each folder for a driver, there's normally a maintainers list. So you can sit to do that, and you can be able to sit to just learn about that. So after you identify a problem either through check patch or you decide you're going to improve a driver using a feature, the next thing is to create a patch. And as I said, like even from the name patch, like if something is torn, you can patch it. You can put another piece of cloth on top and patch it. So creating a patch means that is writing code that addresses the issue. So it's writing code that addresses the issue that you've identified, if it's a problem, or adding to the features that you want to submit to give. So yeah, you need to know the code base and the ability to write clean and efficient code. The next thing after you send your patch, it has to be reviewed. And I had shown you in the previous example, sample patch that I did. So you send it to the public mailing list. So the mailing list that you send your patch to is a public mailing list for that particular subsystem or that particular tree that you're passionate about, that you want to help. So you send it there and then it is reviewed. So there are different people who review, the maintainers, and the people who contribute frequently. And they're actually, sorry about the dogs. Today, I have a few dogs with me. Normally, it's normally quiet, but yes, sorry about the dog's background, but yes. So after you submit your patch, the maintainers will review, and also people in that mailing list review, so that you can be able to know if whatever you're introducing is actually necessary, and just give feedback about what you have submitted. Once feedback has been received, the patch is, and it's an okay, the patch is updated and tested. So they're normally bots that like, yeah, I'd say bots really, but like just small, how do I call them? There are test bots that are normally run on different trees on the kernel to test the changes that have been introduced and to see if they introduce any errors and any regression. And I've used the word regression loosely. I'm going to explain what it is in a future slide, but it's not even hard. Like from the name, you can be able to see like a regression is if a feature was working and then your update makes that feature not work. That's a regression because you're taking the code a step back to this. It was working, but then now it's not working. So that's how I tend to think of what a regression is, like just loosely defining that. So yeah, so you have to, so the bots run, they're scheduled bots mostly. So they just run and you'll see there's one called sysbot that tells you, okay, if it finds an error with the patch that you submitted, and that's why it's important for you to sign off your patch, because that means that you need to, once you sign off and there's an error that has been discovered by the bot, it will send an email to you telling you that, oh, this thing that you have put introduces such and such an error, or it gives a suggestion on how to make it better. You'll find them on different trees. They're different depending on the trees that you work on. Oh, I'm clicking on the wrong laptop. Yeah, version control, we talked about it. It's just managing changes over time. We talked about Git. Yeah, so it's just for you to be able to track the changes and collaborate with different people. Yeah, the next thing we're going to talk about is finding and selecting a patch. But now, before I go here, I'd like to know with the people on the call, the 5 people, because I've joined on 2 devices, the 5 people on the call, is there anyone who has a question? Anyone so far? If you're okay, you can respond with a thumbs up so that I can proceed. Because that's just like a quick overview of what we discussed. Yes, I've seen a thumbs up from Clement, so that means you're working well, and Zeno also. Thank you. So yeah, so we're going to talk about finding and selecting a patch. Rather, let's see what's happening. Yeah, so before we talk about the finding and selecting a patch, I want us to briefly touch on why, like, what's the objective and goal of a fast patch? As you see here, like there's a hammer and a nail. So we want to hit it right. Like we want to hit the nail right on the head. So the first thing about a fast patch, let it be small and manageable contribution. Recently, Nanda's patch got accepted to the mainline kernel, which is a very huge thing. And it was just, I think it was just changing one letter or something like that. It was just changing one thing. I don't know, Nanda, you can tell us about that patch. But I think he's fixing the sound on YouTube. Yeah, but it was just changing one letter. So your first patch needs to be small and manageable, because in as much as I'm saying you can use check patch to find errors that you want to correct, even that replacing that curly brace to align, or even putting parentheses or removing parentheses, that one can have feedback, and it may actually not be accepted in the first submission. So keep it small, keep it as small and manageable as possible, like fix a typo in the documentation, add a comment, something like that. This allows you to get familiar with the development process. It opens up your mind again too, because once you submit that, the people who respond to that patch are the people who are active in that subsystem on that tree. You're going to be able to talk to them. And then I also talked about if you want to submit a feature or something like that, you need to sit in the mailing list. So you need to subscribe to the mailing list of the particular subsystem, not subsystem really, of the particular thing that you want to subscribe, that you want to contribute to. If you want to contribute to the Ethernet driver, you need to find where the Ethernet mailing list is, like for that particular tree. So you need to find the mailing list for the networking subsystem, because the Ethernet driver is probably in that subsystem. So by that, when you sit, like when you just look through and the mailing list, you're able to learn from the experienced kernel developers. You'll see how they submit a patch, because across the kernel, the procedures are different. So you're going to be able to see how they submit a patch, how they give review, how they receive feedback, how they do revisions of the patch. All that you're going to be able to see. And so when you consistently submit multiple patches, you build reputation. So now in the community, because there are people who are called maintainers. Maintainers are the people who are responsible for a certain subsystem. If they do, because you see, like Linus Torvalds cannot be able to know what's happening across all parts of the kernel and all drivers. So there are people whose work is actually to maintain certain drivers, and they're the owners of that particular thing. So when you have such maintainers, those are the people who are able to give an okay and a go ahead to merge to staging, and then now that's what's merged to the mainline kernel. So as you keep contributing to the kernel, you're able to build a rapport with these people, because they're the people who are going to accept your patch, and they're going to be able to put it through the entire process until it gets to the mainline kernel. So yeah, so that's why you need to, so when you're doing your first patch, these are the things that you need to think about. Like the first patch, make sure it's as small as possible, so that you can be able to just know the flow, so that at least if they're correcting you only on the patch message or the patch title. They're not telling you your code is wrong or your code is bad. So by the time you're getting there, you're not struggling on writing a patch commit or a patch message or a patch title. Yeah. So we talked about the different areas of contribution that someone can have. We can have you contribute to device drivers. I've emphasized on that a lot. You can contribute to file systems. Yeah, if you know a lot about the OS, you can be able to see which file systems you want to contribute. Networking, I've talked about that. There are different places in networking that you can contribute to. And security, there are also places in security that you can contribute to. So it's just finding a subsystem that you're interested in and trying to give your feedback. We also talked about review existing issues and bugs. I've put here a few tools and mailing lists that you can be able to track issues and bugs. So there's more details here. We've talked about using checkpatch, and then you yourself can be able to search for issues and bugs. If you're using a popular hardware, or like if you're using something on the kernel and you find that it's really buggy, you can write to the maintainer. Because of the sound issue, won't be able to talk, but I can chat here. Okay, no problem, Nanda. So you can write to the maintainer to search for existing issues that match whatever you're interested in and try to say, okay, maybe we could try do this and just give your feedback. And most communities are normally open to that. So when you want to submit that, or like you've already written the code for something and you want someone to look at it, it's called an RFC patch. RFC should stand for, is it request for consultation? So when you're writing your patch headers, you'll start with RFC and then you put your, if it's a set, if it's a patch set is, yes, it's request for comment, as then I'll put it. So request for comment. So like when you submit that, it means like you want to hear the feedback of the community for that. So that's the RFC patch. That's what you submit first if you want to suggest a change in the kernel. And you put that, you put the version. If you have a patch set we focus on small changes. So let's say if you're changing 5 functions, like 5 functions exactly. If you're changing 5 functions, and the different things about the functions that you're changing, not just capitalization of letters and not just a aligning of parentheses, you normally submit a patch set so that it's so each patch set, like each part of the patch set focuses on a small area that you're addressing. So that in when we are trying to when we submit the so that we have like small manageable changes that can be tracked over time. So because each patch set has a title, so you'd put the title of that patch set. So you can say that this maybe you're capitalizing, you're following camel case for function this, and then the next one following camel case for this other function. You just don't write one whole patch and say changing to camel case for all functions in this file. No, it has to be manageable changes so that when you're looking, like when 20 years to come, when someone else is going through, they can be able to easily read your part and see the exact place that you're focusing on. So it's very exact. So yeah. Assignments. So sometimes when you go to different subsystems, you can be able to find in the documentation at the very bottom, you can be able to find areas of improvement. Those are also plausible areas for you to be able to start contributing to. So for those areas, you reach out to the maintainer and try to ask them, okay, I've seen that this is an area of contribution, or this is an area of improvement. How can I help? And normally maintainers are very busy. Okay, they are busy people, and maybe they may not respond to you immediately, but when they get your message, they may respond and they may give you feedback on the type of help they're looking for that particular area of improvement. So this is another way of contributing to the kernel. Yeah, so I've already talked about this. You need to review existing issues and start small. So yes, so we go to writing and submitting your patch. And I want to, what is next here? Yeah, I think first we can see how to write and submit a patch before we go to this section. I don't know, I'm going to stop sharing this screen because now I'm moving to the kernel screen. I don't know. Does anyone have a question until then? Okay, you can send a thumbs up if we are all on the same page. And I'm going to, oh, my KVLT has been done. Okay. Just a minute. I'm trying to see. Okay. So I'm going to share my screen on this other device. Okay, I got distracted a bit. So let me share this. I'm hoping we're all okay. Okay, I can see thumbs up from Clement and Zeno. So let me share the screen. Okay. Let me know. Can you be able to see my screen? I think I can because I'm on both devices, so I can see it. So I'm assuming you guys can. Good. So I'm in the driver that I normally contribute to, which is the Vivid test driver. And if time allows, at the very end, I'm going to talk about the contributions that I've been able to make for this and explain what this does. So I'm just going to navigate to one of the files that we have, which is Vivid. Don't mind, I'm just changing. It's one of the files that we have, and I'm going to, I had changed something. So we had, like, for example, we have this array here that has two things. So we have test pattern generator and we have none, and maybe I can call it none too. So I'm just going to change this and just see if I am submitting a patch for this, what will happen. So I've changed that to none too. And then, so when I do my git status, it's part of the tracked files. So you can be able to see, ignore all these red things, but you can be able to see that I've changed this file. So what I'll do is just git add, I add this and then I put it up for a commit. So let me add vivid .c. Okay, so now let me just check again to see it's been added. Of course it has. And now it's on stage. It's now I need to commit this. So after you have, when you set up Git, you need to set up to make sure that you always sign. That's important because now when I put this, these flags enable it to automatically sign that it's me who's done it. So let me do this. So you see, I've automatically signed it off. And now you can be able to see the changes that I have done. The changes to be committed is this one, vivid core.c. So what I need to do here when I write my commit message, I need to be able to first describe what subsystem this is and what file I am changing. Hold on just a minute. So yeah, so this first of all is what I'm changing here is the media. I'm in the media subsystem. Just a minute, something has distracted me. Yes, so I'm in the media subsystem and the kernel newbies describes this very well. Oh, why is this not working? Okay, yeah, I'm in the media subsystem. So I start with that to describe that this is the media subsystem. I'm changing this. The particular driver I'm touching on would be Vivid. This is what I'm touching on, okay? And what have I done to Vivid? So the title of the patch should be brief enough to get, when the reviewers read, they get what the entire patch is about, okay? So you could say maybe modify menu controls, because what I've done is I've just modified a menu control. So modified menu control, and I'll show you what I mean by menu control. So what I've just done is I've been able to modify menu control. Now, because we do not want to be very wordy, and you see, I think the title is capped at 80 characters. So you don't also write a long title saying, you know, being very explicit of what you've done, No, it's just short and sweet. Like whoever who reads this title should be able to understand immediately what you have done. And then now you do that, you skip a line. You have to skip a line, okay? And then after skipping a line, now you say that added a new menu control to update existing one. Okay, so added. So now here, you don't need to say this patch, that. No, you just get direct to the point. Like, what are you doing? And sometimes you need to write this and then why is it useful? So this gives user more menu options or something like that. So this, well, this Vivid thing normally has like a graphical user interface. And so that was Can you hear me on this other device?
Recording in progress.
Can you hear me? I can hear myself. I can hear myself. Okay, let me see my internet. Sorry about that. But are we all together? Are we all on the same page until now? Is there anyone with a question? Okay. Every time one of the hosts has to drop, sorry. I'm just changing my internet so that we don't have this interruption again. Okay. Oh, screen size. Oh, I forgot to change that. Sorry, guys. Okay. Just a minute. Again. So let me share my screen. I need to share. Oh, I've not shared the Linux screen. Nanda, could you please make me a co-host so that I on this other device, because the device that I'm host is not the one with the Linux kernel. This one that I have my video on, this is what I would like to be co-host on. Am I now co-host? Can I share my screen? Still not a I'm a co-host here, so I can make myself a co-host. Okay. Can I do that? I can't. I actually can't. Can you make this Dorcas? Yes, thank you. Now I am. So let me share my Linux screen. So I did that change and I committed, and you can see that was the change that I did, and it's written there, my commit, and I've described effectively what I have changed. So now what happens is you normally generate a patch from your commit. So the correct, I think it's git format, patch, and then you put the subject prefix, because a patch is normally prefixed by either the name patch. I showed you last time a patch that I had submitted, the name patch, if it has a version and all that. So you put the subject prefix that you'd prefer, and then whatever. So I had already pasted that here. So let me paste that. So you don't use version 2, actually. I put version 2. Version 2 is when you submit your patch and then you get someone. Let me send here the comment I got. Yes, Nanda is sending the comment he got, how you phrase your commit body. Very good. Thank you, Nanda. When you submit your patch and you and you get feedback, you have to submit a second version. So here you now put patch version 2. But I think if you're just sending a patch, you don't need to put that subject prefix because it will now be patch. So let me see. That will work. Yes. So I've just put git format patch head. It goes through the git log, rather it goes through the log and picks the first parent, like so the first commit there. So if I did something like this, it would pick 2. So it's done 2 patches. So modify menu control and also the other patch that I don't know. It was not me who did. It's now in the log that I pulled. So it's done 2 patches. And the interesting thing is that you can be able to read your patch. So you can open this on Vim and see. So you can see it's now this is what it's done. It's done a patch series, as you can see here. So patch 2 out of 2, and that was not my intention. Sorry. Now let me just first remove all patches that have been created. So when you do head, what is it? I think it's called a slur. That does a patch series. But then when you do this -1, I think it should now just do for your patch. It goes to the, wait, let me just see my log. These notations normally have a meaning. So let me see the third one. Yes, it's gone to the third patch that is there. Because now I've said, the slur has a meaning, and this one means pick only that. -1 means picks only that. And let me do that. This is the second patch. So it picks only the second patch, not versioning it. So if I open this, it's going to be only this patch. Like it's not going to be version like 1 or it's just like that patch only. That's a bit confusing, but if you're only sending 1 patch, just do this. I need to get my facts right on the difference between when you add the -1 and the /1 here on head. But I know this one is the head /1 is the descendant. So it's like going down the descendants, and then -1 shows pick only that one, if I'm not wrong. But Nanda will clarify that later. But if I put this, it will just make a patch for most recent change, which is this. And so when I open this patch, because a patch is just like it's generated an email for us here. So I need to open it so that you guys can see. And it's in the format of which a patch should be. So you can see subject, it's created the subject, media, vivid, modify menu controls, it's put who I'm from, and then it's put, oh, I'm just showing my email on the internet. I hope those people will not see it, the attackers. But anyway, it puts what I've done, who has signed it off, what the changes that I have made, and then yeah, it shows the git diff of what has changed. It shows what has been removed, what has been added, and continues to define the patch. So until there, is it clear? So now I have done a patch. So when I list the things here, besides the files, you can see the patches that I've been generating are here. Is there anyone who has a question up until there? Don't show it on the screen. Okay, it was a direct message. You click on the link there. So Nanda has said you click on the link there. So yeah, then I normally have like when I was beginning, I just wrote like a cheat sheet of the things that I need to do, because there are many things that you need to do before you submit. So after you do this, now you do the git send email. So I have here all those things I wrote. So this is like, for the staging subsystem, this is who you're supposed to send the email to. So this shows you CC. Let me just do this, because I just wrote just different things here so that I can be able to have everything I need here when I need to do a change. So after you've done your patch, you now use git send email to send the message. So cc-cmd, this one, what it does, and I think these commands are on the kernel newbies, it sends it opens a script that has all the maintainers. and then the script runs, and then it sends all the patches to these maintainers. And I'm not going to run this because it's actually going to send an email. Maybe I'll say, let me send it to myself. And then I can put on the CC who I want to send. These are the people you normally send when you're contributing via Outreachy. And star patch, of course, the wildcard means everything that's a patch here. So let me remove everyone here and just leave myself. And yeah, so after you've done your patch, so what will happen, it will send patches to me, all the patches. But if I want to be specific, if I only want to send this patch, of course, like one of the patches here, I don't put the wildcard, I put the exact patch that I want. So, and I think I don't even need to put the CC because now this will carbon copy me, but let me just do that. And you see now it's sending all the passage, and then since I have put that --cc flag, it's like, okay, you didn't put a 2. So yeah. And then there, yeah, then it kind of shows, oh, why is it sending to these random people? I am not sending this email. But anyway, now before you send it, it gives a high overview of what you have changed. The CC has been expanded. Okay. Oh, because I've changed, because I've sent all patches. Let me not send this email. Let me not send this email. Yes, not this one, I can only send to myself. So you see, at least you're able to proofread and you can be able to see who is being CC'd. And now this one is only me. And you can see clearly the changes of the patch. And then you can send that patch. So if I say yes, I'm going to receive that patch on my email. And that's it. That's it. You've sent your patch. Any question? Any question until there? And that has given those. Yeah, some subsystems, they're a bit tricky. Just try and find a friendly subsystem because others, you can cry. You can cry. Let me share my screen. Which screen am I sharing? PowerPoint slide. Until then, I hope there's no question. I don't know, is it clear? The people in the chat, is it clear? The people on Zoom, is it clear? Just like to know your feedback. Does anyone have a question? Is that what you did to submit your patch? Yeah, you can respond with a thumbs up if it's okay. Yes, I'm waiting for a thumbs up so that maybe I've not just wrapped things. Yeah. Okay, Nanda has it, but Nanda, you contribute. Yours does not count. Oh, you got a little lost about the multi-patch. So yes, let me try and re-explain that. So let me share this other screen. When you do, let me share. Yes, I figured maybe that was a bit confusing. So let me share that screen. Thank you for being asking about that. And that's a great question. It's actually very confusing. So anytime you do a small change, you should commit that small change. So if you've done multiple changes, multiple small changes, that means you have multiple commit messages, but they're all touching on the same file. Okay, so you'd send like different, if you're touching rather on the same area, okay, in a subsystem. So if you have multiple changes that are on the same area, what you submit then is not a single patch, is a patch set. So when I did that, when I was doing this git format patch here, and they put this, what happens is it gets the ancestors, like how the git log. So if I have my git log here, there are different patches that have been done. There's my patch, there's like for the entire tree, these are the different patches that have been done. And so what happens is when I decide maybe to, make a patch, as I said, it reads the patch details from the commit messages. So if I put head /2, that means it's going to take the 2 most recent commits and generate a patch series. Okay, so it's going to think that, it's going to say, okay, what she's saying based on this command, like what my command is saying is these two commits are related. So format a patch that has version 1, that has 1 out of 2 and 2 out of 2 based on this commit. So if I have this, it has done 2 commits, 001 and 002. So if I open my patch here, it's going to be patch 2 out of 2. So it's like, okay, you have a patch set. So you have 2 commits that are related. So you see it's patch 2 out of 2. And then if I go to the other patch here, this one, and I open it, this is going to be patch 1 out of 2. So it was it's the command that I have done that is making, it's giving the entire multiple patch issue. So it's like, okay, how Git has understood it, Git format patch has understood it. It's like, okay, she's saying that these 2 commits are related. So I need to create a patch based off these 2 commits that they're related. And now this one is patch 1 out of 2. And normally when you submit such a patch, you need to have a cover letter. So patch 0 out of 2 would be your cover letter. Since I've said that, a patch set introduces patches that are commits that are closely related. That means your cover letter should explain what the entire patch set does. And I think maybe I can best explain that using the patch set that I did. So let me stop sharing first and then get that patch set, and then I share, since today I'm running on one screen. Yeah. I'm seeing 6 new messages. I got a list. I get that now. Thanks. So that, then what does the -1 do within the context of? Okay, yeah. So the -1, what it does, it picks only one. So let's say you had committed, like you had done multiple changes, and patch your commit 1 and commit 2 are not at all related. They're not related at all. You just want one patch, like a patch for just this one and another patch for this one. So like it's like navigating down the tree to see, to pick the one that you want. So it will only create a patch for that one. So it will create for one, depending on what you've put as head/2. So head/2 is like, head/2 is what goes down the tree. But if you put -1, it means only for one. So it will be a single patch, and then depending on where your head is pointing to. I don't know if that's clear, or might still a bit confusing. I'd like to know, Zeno. -1, it depends on where head is pointing to. It only picks one, but then it depends on where head is at. That's what I'd say. But I think it picks it's a bit confusing even for me. Like sometimes I can't explain it clearly. Let me see what it does. We can try here. Let me see, -1, it picks, I think it depends on where head is pointing to. So if you have it at head/2, it's going to pick 0, 1, 2. So which one of the two? Yeah, I guess it depends on where head is pointing to, because if you put -1 and then even when you just put head, yes, let me share my screen so that you see. So let me share my screen. Yeah. Does head mean number of conflicts? No, head is where your branch is pointing to. So it's like, because how, like the way Git is structured. So doesn't head mean the number of commits? Yes, I think, okay, I don't know. Let me not answer that. I don't know. Last 2 commits. I don't know. I don't know. Let me not say that I know. Clement, you will have
Can I chime in?
Yes, please.
The way I understand it is the head, think of it like like a cassette tape, the way it reads and moves over the tape. So a head, you can think of it as that head of the cassette tape. So whichever place that is and whatever that means it can read at that point. So that is where that is the head. Or at least I was explained with that analogy. So whichever place you move in the commits, so that is where the head, you can push it across the commits, and whichever place that head is where it's reading.
Yes, and Zena is asking if head/2 means the last two commits. Does it mean the last two commits? Or does it relocate where head is pointing to? Because what I think is that it relocates, it changes the position where head is pointing to, depending on the parameters that you've put before. Because if you just put git format head/2, it will give actually those last two commits. But then if you put git format patch -1 head/2, it changes that. Yeah. Oh, yes. So Nanda is saying head is a pointer. You can move it around. Typically, it's pointing at the top of the tree or branch. I don't know, Zeno, if that answered. It's a bit confusing. I don't know. I can do okay. He will do an experiment to clarify later. Yes. Sorry. Okay. So that's about the patch set. So I don't know, is your patch set issue okay? Is the patch set okay? Is it clear to? But I still had a question about how you make the cover. Oh, the 0th cover letter. Yeah, yeah. So let me, yes, let me go back to that. So when I think on Kernel Newbies, it defines how to make the cover letter when you send a patch series. Let me get that. Let me just get that right now. So when you go to Kernel Newbies, just a minute, I'm checking on Kernel Newbies, writing, because there's something called patch philosophy. There's a document called patch philosophy that you can use anytime to versioning patch sets. Yes, so you add so let me just share my screen. So for you to put a cover letter, you add the flag -- cover letter. So let me just do that. So if I do this, so because now like head is pointing at the top of the tree, -1, it will pick only one. And then I do -- cover letter. I think it's written like that. It's now generated a cover letter patch, which is now patch 0. And now media patch. So if I open this cover letter here, it will be, and this is wrong because now I only have one nini, but now I still have a cover letter. You see, it's now patch 0 out of 1. So it outlines the format, like it just gives a template. And then now you put your subject here and then a blurb to show what you have done, like what this patch is about. So I'm going to go to the media staging tree so that I can show a complete patch with a cover letter. Let me just search for myself. And all this is publicly available, so you can be able to find all these things. I'm searching by author, sorry. It takes a bit of time because you can imagine like the size of this thing and it's trying to come through to find one person. Yes, so let me continue. Oh, yes, Zeno got it. Sawa, thank you. It's taking time because, yeah, as I said, it's pretty big. But yeah, as it loads, I think that's mostly it about submitting a patch. I don't know Is there anyone who has a question until there? Is it clear? Okay. I also have, I may have missed this, but for the components of the kernel that you contributed to, why did you contribute to them? Were you doing it for work, personal interest, etc.? Yeah, so for me, it was for work. I was doing the outreach because the last thing on my slide is actually talking about outreach. So, okay, it has refused. Let me stop sharing and then because I have a link to those things. Let me just get that link and then I come back here. Was my okay, people are joining right now, which is interesting. Yes, it was for work. So I was part of a quote unquote informal internship called Outreachy. Not really an internship for school going children. No, it's just like an open source internship called Outreachy. And so the main objective of Outreachy is to get underrepresented people to contribute to open source. And so I saw Linux was there, researched about Linux, did a few contributions, and then that's how I ended up in the media subsystem. So I did that for was it like 6 months or something? Yes, that is how I did that. So, but different people get into the kernel different ways that I've been mentioning. Yes. So sorry guys. Oh, we've extended time a bit, but let me just get that link and then we can close because Nanda really wanted me to talk about the things that I did on the kernel and my patch. Where should I search that for? I hope my Gmail is logged in here. Yes. You can keep posting your questions in the chat. Those who've joined now, I hope you are on the YouTube stream and you are like, we want to join live. So even it's in this thing here. Let me get it. How did Hans do this? Vivid patches are merged. Yes. Yes, I found it. Okay. So let me just show it on our tree because but if you want to see it on the Linux tree, it's also possible. Let me share this and then share. So, oh God, it's come to this tree again, the main tree. Just a minute, let me stop sharing and then let me just share the link I have for the main line. Hmm. 28. Yes, I found it on mainline kernel. I hope it will open to my exact. Yes, I have found it. Yes. So sharing this. Okay. Are you able to see? Yes, you can see since I can see. So this is, I contributed to this and then also this I'm a co-author. So for example, this was actually initially a patch set, but now it's different. So I'm just going to, is it really useful for me to talk about what I did? Because now it introduces a lot of complexities. Let me demo what's happening on that project on Vivid. So Vivid is an emulator. So it tries to emulate. Test drivers are mostly, I think I need to start from there. Nanda, what should I do? Advise me, what should I do? But Amma, let me post this patch here. Then you can look at it on the chat and then you can tell me if you have any questions. You can just reach out to me via email that I've publicly shared. I don't know, I hope. Yeah, anyway, it's okay. Where is that chat? Chat here. Let me put it here. You can just check it out on your free time. And then now I can't paste because I'm across different OSs, but I don't know, Nanda, will you be sending out an email to thank everybody? You can attach my patch there so that people can be able to see exactly what I did there. Then we can be able to talk more about it offline or online. Yeah, so it was basically just trying to improve support. We were emulating hardware. And so how the software side was not mimicking exactly how hardware was. So we had to do a few changes and a few tweaks to be able to do that. So that's what all this. So Vivid is a test driver that basically we normally have drivers that try to explain to software how hardware looks like. But then now test drivers are like, if your drivers are not ready and you want to see if your application is going to work with any other hardware, you can use a test driver to test that. So it's like an emulator. So for example, here, if I run my Vivid, normally run it using Q4. So it's something like this. So what we were doing is we were trying to improve some support here. I think that's the best way to put it, but I'm yet to do a blog to explain this. So it means that blog is urgent so that you can be able to know exactly what I did. Yeah, I've just closed it because time is over and it gets a bit complicated. Thank you, Nanda. Yes, but this is just the patch that now got merged in. A lot of changes, but of course it took me a long time to be able to do all these things and a lot of support from my mentor, Hans, who helped me to be able to set this up and be able to contribute that way. So I'd like to know, is there anyone else with a question before we close today's session? Was it useful? I don't know if it was useful or maybe I was just like rapping here. Yes, I'd like to know any feedback about the question. Are you now more confident? Okay, appreciated being able to see how the logistics work. Thank you, Zeno. Any other person? Very helpful. Thank you. We're happy to help. Test is still here anyway. It's okay, Test, if you don't want to speak today. I think with that brings us to a close for this particular version of this workshop. Unless, if you ever want any help, if you ever need any clarification, feel free to reach out on email. And thank you, Tess, for responding. Feel free to reach out on email, on LinkedIn, yes, on any social media platform, so that you can be able to converse. Nanda, should I close? Will you be able to come off mute to close this particular version of the workshops? I'm just waiting on Nanda. Oh, I can close. Thank you. Close. As I close, subscribe to Nanda's channel, Blackboard full stop. Subscribe. Thank you. Thank you, Tess. And yes, I worked really hard on outreaching. I'll see you all later. Feel free to connect on LinkedIn. My name is Dorcas Litunya. Nanda is Anthony Nanda. And then you can connect with us and let us know if you have any feedback. We are always happy to help. See you on the next edition of Blackboard. Bye.